All right, welcome to the North Georgia Advocate podcast number 9. Sorry, I've been thinking about my former business all day. I've been having to help the new owner do some stuff, and I had it on the brain. But we're here with Brandon Reed. He's filling in for Viral as he is in India with his wife. They just had their newborn, and his wife's family had never seen the baby because they're all still over there. His family's here, her family's there, so he's going to be gone till like the second or third week of February. So Brandon has been kind enough to step in and fill in for Viral, and we're going to get into a lot of stuff today. And Brandon, for the people who don't know, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in the local politics over the last couple of years.
Yep. So really I started joining a few different groups on Facebook, a lot of local groups, advocate groups to really get my feet wet and get my eyes open to what's going on around me, because I started seeing a lot of warehouses going up, a lot of traffic backing up, a lot of talk of taxes going up, and I wanted to get more involved. So started getting online on social media and finding more groups, started joining with them, and one thing led to another. And earlier this year, ran a campaign to be the Braswell mayor. Lost that on November 4th, but still keeping my eyes open and trying to help out when I can, where I can.
Well, you made a good showing in the Braswell mayor's race. What, you got 25% of the vote or so?
Yeah, about 8.
About 8%?
No, about an eighth.
Eighth of the vote. Well, you know,
yeah.
And you didn't put any money into it, just a little bit of time, and you didn't get into the last minute, and you ran against some pretty popular people that were well known in Braswell circles. I mean, and I can guarantee you those people, when they started running, they didn't win their first elections or anything. That's just how it goes. I mean, you got to get your feet wet and live and learn.
Oh yeah, and see, with recent events, you know, our newly appointed police chief was arrested shortly after our election.
I mean, it's literally like he took that job just so he could stalk that woman, if you believe what was in the papers. You know,
I can see that. Now the thing is, from my perspective, since I was, you know, getting involved with the local politics here, I mean, he was a backup to the former chief for 20-something years. I mean, he was heavily involved in this police department, and
he knew the ins and outs and how to do all that.
He did, and he was involved with the community. So I mean, I really don't know. I don't know what went down. I really don't. Yeah. If I did, I'd have more to tell you. But
well, all we know was what was in the paper. You know, they caught him following this lady, and he was running her. He was finding out where she was at through those flock cameras that are on the side of the road. You know, those that look like little solar panels, and
see,
they record all the license plates and stuff. And and he was following her all the way to Gwinnett County and all kinds of places. If you believe, I mean, we don't know what all's true and not. That's just what was in the paper and in the police report.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Once the GBI gets involved,
I mean, you kind of.
I mean, I'm no judge or jury, but when the GBI steps in,
exactly.
I don't think they're going on hearsay.
No, and the thing about it is, it's unfortunate for everybody, especially a small town like Braswell. You know, you expect something like that in major cities because it can be hid so easily, because they probably looking for 1,000 cars a day in big cities, you know. But in a town like Braswell, you know, that stuff stands out. I mean, you know.
Oh yeah, and see, I'm gonna go through there after Christmas. You know, let all the families get back home and everything. After Christmas, I'm gonna go out there and moon a few of them cameras just to see if they're actually paying attention to them.
Exactly. You know, that's wild, man. But Braswell is like Gainesville and Hall County. You see all these buildings going up and all these homes, but no infrastructure improvements.
Exactly.
I mean, if you do see improvements, it's at the federal or state level. It's not local roads that need it. They're not getting improved. No infrastructure is getting done.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you just traffic's so bad, I mean, it takes you 30 minutes to go 2 or 3 miles sometimes.
Yep. And see too, another recent announcement they had over here is the old public shopping center on Old Wander Highway 211 here. I guess that'll become a Sprouts Farmers Market shopping center.
Well, I heard something about that.
And also a Ross Dress for Less.
I mean, Sprouts brings in a crowd with them wherever they go. And
it does, but what's funny is all of those local groups I'm in, the Chateau Lawn people don't really seem to be fond of that choice with the Ross going in there, because they're afraid too many of y'all Gainesville people are going to start coming over here.
Well, we got two. We got one in Oakwood, and one in Player Branch, and one over on Braswell Highway.
Yeah, but
I don't really go in Ross too much. Every time I go in there, it looks like a bomb's been dropped on it. Everything's so disorganized, you can't find nothing.
And see, that's the perception too that I think a lot of the people here have.
No, it's great quality stuff if you can find it. It's just disorganized. I mean, it may be organized early in the morning, but by the time you get there, everybody's done picked it up and moved it around, and I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
The shoe department's pretty organized. I used to go in there and buy my boys some, and they'd have Jordans on sale, legitimate Jordans, $200, $300 tennis shoes for $75 to $100.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't beat that, and I'd go in there looking every once in a while. Them days, that was when they was younger, but it's not a bad store. It don't bring in riffraff or nothing. I mean, it's not like you're opening up a,
I don't know. You never know. It could get interesting. We got all these wander folks that try to ease in.
Oh yeah.
Every now and then, the castle doors down and they sneak in. So we got to watch out for that side of Jackson County and
Stadium. One people, they wild over there sometimes.
Like the Wild West, man. I'm telling you.
Oh yeah.
So that's what my Brazelton people are afraid of now. And hell, now we can't watch the cameras to keep them out because.
Exactly. That's
it's going to be interesting for Brazelton for at least for a couple years.
Yeah, this next election, it's going to be interesting to see if they hire somebody local who's going to run, or they're going to try to. I'm talking somebody that's already in the police force and well known, or somebody outside the force is going to try to.
Yeah, I don't know. They announced the backup who took his place as the interim chief now, but I don't know if that's going to be temporary, permanent. They haven't announced anything.
They could have even went and recruited a sheriff from somewhere else and got him to move in.
Well, here's the thing. So the one that was arrested, I know he got in March or April of this year. So they still have the other 4 or 5. Well, really 4, because it went from 10 candidates on a panel, and the town manager and people interviewed them, and it got down to 5 candidates. So they still have those other 4 candidates on file. So I wonder if they're going to be able to pull from those if they're still interested, because coincidentally, when I was campaigning months ago, I actually met 2 of those candidates in the street.
Right.
Just walking around talking to them in neighborhoods here in Brazelton. I met 2 of those potential chiefs, and both of them were very solid sources, or solid choices.
Yeah.
From what I could tell, and I would have gone with either one of them. So maybe they've got a chance to go back and offer them the position if it's available, or
they'll just hold it to the next election, correct?
No, it was hard. It wasn't
it's not an elected position in
this is just the city chief.
The city chief, okay.
Yep. So yeah, he was hired in.
Okay, say in
the city manager.
County, the sheriff's elected.
Correct. So I guess all the county sheriffs are elected.
Now the city of Gainesville, they just appoint a chief or hire one or whatever.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. So that's similar here. I guess they can post a job, or they'll let the current guy stay in it.
Right. Now they got to live in the city limits. So if they take the job, like say if they hire somebody from South Georgia.
No.
So I know a lot of places you got to live in the city limits, because especially in like Banks County or Jackson, as in Jackson County, the sheriff just got in a lot of heat because remember he made him as a big story where he made him move the property line so his swimming pool and everything would be in Jackson County.
Oh Lord.
There's a big article on AJC about it, and how you could look at the property line and it's going straight, then it got to his property, then it would kind of jut out and go around his swimming pool and chicken house and stuff. So his land would be in Jackson County.
I believe it.
It's good. It's crazy. I said, why? I mean, you know, just don't make no sense, because he didn't want to give up his, you know, he could have built everything on the other side of his house because he had a farm out there and he didn't even think about it. And I mean, I understand hate to lose his job over something like that, but I mean, you got to look at, if you're in that position, you got to look at it, and you can't make exceptions.
Nope. Yeah, I know we've got a lot of officers that live outside the city limits.
Well, yeah, Bradenton's a little, yeah.
I don't know about the chief. I don't know if that's a requirement or not.
No, it shouldn't be, because Bradenton's not huge. I mean, it's not big. But, you know, we'll see. It's going to be interesting because there's a lot of stuff going on in Bradenton.
Yep. I said they had one chance to get me in there, and sorry.
Well,
what's funny, you know, too, I was talking about the shift staggering to help with the traffic.
Right.
And earlier tonight, I was driving by here, and right at 8 p.m., FedEx Center here, bumper to bumper with their delivery trucks, 18-wheelers, the cargo vans, all FedEx trucks. And it's a long entrance. Yeah. They were bumper to bumper out into the industrial road. And I'm like, see, right there alone, just staggering it. Not only would it improve the flow of traffic around here and the congestion of our streets for our people, but it improved their process workflow for them.
Yeah.
Instead of having 100-something trucks lined up, you'd have 5 coming every 15-minute intervals.
Right.
And it just streamlines it. Boom, boom, boom. It would be a never-ending flow, but it's better than a heavy flow and a bottleneck. Heavy flow, bottleneck. But I was just like, oh well, maybe I'll sell it to them as a consultant, you know, industrial consultant at $300 an hour. And
yeah. Oh yeah. Hey, that'll be good.
Hey, I might not be able to fix it as a mayor, but I can fix it as a profiteer.
Yeah. Oh, you'll be back. You won't get it out of your system.
Well, we'll see.
But yeah, we had a lot of stuff going on in Gainesville and Hall County, and you know, last week we had several controversial subjects and projects coming up. We had the data center, which we'll get into it in a few minutes, but we had a big subdivision coming in down on Winder Highway, which is right down the road from where y'all are. Mm-hmm. Last year, they approved 143 homes or something like that going in, townhomes, and then, or a couple of years ago now, then they decided, the church decided they wanted to sell the rest of their land to the developers to put in 43 homes, townhomes, and the county denied it because there's going to be runoff into different watersheds and different, you know. So they sued the county, and the judge made the, you know, told them to made the county rehear it again, and it got approved this time. And the reason it got approved is because Jill Cooper is one of the citizens that was fighting against it because it was right next to her property. But Kathy Cooper, the county commissioner, no relation, she had to recuse herself because she was one of the agents listed on the property. And that's one reason it got denied. She couldn't vote. Because it was, and this time she didn't recuse herself. So there was kind of a conflict of interest there. And one reason I'm thinking it could be she let her real estate license expire back in the fall. And the concerned citizens of Hall County, they jumped on that back in the fall, and and nothing really will ever come from it. If all she got to do is pay her freaking fee and get her license back, maybe take a class or two, but it's still, that shouldn't be enough. I'm not saying that's why she didn't recuse herself. I'm just saying I'm just wondering out loud. She didn't recuse herself, and then her and Billy Powell and Jeff Stowe, which everybody's calling the three Amigos because they always vote together because they seem to be in the good old boy network's pocket. Everything they want gets passed. They don't care what the citizens say, or they don't listen to nobody. They just pass every development that comes through, and it passed 3-2. And so that means there's going to be like 33 more homes, 34 townhomes going in instead of 43. That's still a lot of traffic. You putting all them, all that traffic coming off Winder Highway right there. I mean, and all the building that's going on 211 and 53 anyway. I mean, even though they did widen it all the way to the Jackson County line, I mean, it's still those side roads that come into it. I mean, I go to the doctor down there and you'll look at some of them side roads and they'll be 10 cars deep ready to turn out on the Winder Highway.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Almost at the data center there, something they pointed out is, the citizens are in an uproar about that development, but at the same time, these developments also have a strain on utilities.
Oh yeah, they do.
That's excess need for water, for electricity, for your Wi-Fi, for everything, for your police, your fire department, ambulance. I mean, your roadways.
I think Corey Anderson brought it up. He's running for District 1 Commissioner against Kathy Cooper at the meeting. That the average household averages about 250 gallons of water a day. You putting in, say, 150 homes by 250. I mean, that's as much water as a freaking data center was planning on using. That's 250. That's a lot of water.
Yep.
And people don't think about that. I mean, I'm not saying I'm for the data center or against it. I'm just making the point, like Corey was, that all these homes use just as much water as a freaking data center was going to.
And that's what I'm still torn on that too, but that's been an argument in the chat rooms and the social media groups too, is they said if we had to pick the lesser of two evils here, would we rather have a data center that, even though they promised all these lucrative, high-paying jobs, the reality is there's only going to be about 40, 50 people working there
at a time.
At a time. They said, in reality, would you rather deal with that tucked away, or would you rather have 450, 500 homes, which brings all the cars, all the traffic, all the school buses?
You're talking, it's like 2.5 cars a house or something.
All the garbage, the Amazon trucks. It's going to bring all that additional traffic. So, which one is worse for your community? Is it the data center, or is it a 450 unit?
And you want to talk about industry? Gainesville's huge in the poultry industry. Hall County and Jackson County and Banks County, and one of them processing plants, they use 2 or 3 million gallons of water a month. Well,
they might be washing them chickens off in Lanier, from what the water reports are.
Exactly.
No, I haven't seen the report. I don't think there's any salmonella in the water yet, but I've heard
No.
it tastes like. I heard the water is getting pretty nasty over there in County.
I'm here on Lake Lanier on Chattahoochee River and right across Morrow Park, and I don't taste it here. But I've got a whole house filter system on, you know. But I know a lot of people's got a whole house filter system on, and it still tastes bad. And I taste it when I go to some restaurants, and it's not everywhere. It's like only in certain parts of the city, but it still shouldn't be tasting like it. I mean, they've admitted it's not lake turnover like they thought it was. We've got algae growing in the lake, and there's other stuff going on. And
well, you know, I mean, kind of in my campaign, I kind of like to go a little bit on the, not the extremes, but I kind of like to push the boundaries a little bit. You know what I'd do if I was a Gainesville resident? I'd go to the next city hall meeting with a clean, empty pitcher and a few solo cups.
yeah,
And when it's time for public speaking, I get my 2 minutes. I'll say, hold on, start your clock. And I'll run right over to the sink, run that tap water, and I'll come back and put a cup in front of every one of them council members and the mayor. And I'd fill up their glass with city water and say, here you go. Drink up, boys.
this ain't for beer pong, I'm telling you.
Drink up. If you're that certain that this water quality is.
Well, and there's all the counties around us that went ahead and put in as
I drink my city water.
You know, they've all put in I don't have it in front of me. It's a new system that they had put in that filters the water better and differently than in Gainesville and Hall County. It's not really Hall County, but they're all together because it's all tied into the lake, and they build together. The tax money are together on a lot of the stuff. And Gainesville and Hall County uses city sewer services.
Yeah,
they hadn't allowed. Hell, they won't even slow down building enough probably to let them put in the new system.
Yeah,
you know, but it's got to be done. It's got to be done.
Oh yeah.
And back to Winder Highway, they passed it, and you know, and Jill Cooper was up there. She's been raising sand, and rightfully so, for the last year, 2 years about them projects, because she's got a pond on her property. That land's been in her family for 100 years or more. She is saying, I mean, that's her old family homesteads, and all this building, all that runoff's going to be going right into her pond and on her property, and you know, and they just don't care.
Oh yeah.
I mean, as long as there's conflict of interest everywhere. And then after Winder Highway, we had a big to-do up on Cagle Mill Road out on 365, up near past White Sulphur Road. It's up near Whitehall Road. And before you get to Lula, it's got a Lula address, and a part of it does. And they putting in 343 homes out there next to an industrial park. And they're wanting them all to pour out on 365. And Jody White, who's been fighting this and a lot of other stuff in Hall County, she's been a thorn in the sides of Hall County for a while now. I mean, holding them accountable, and she's doing a great job of it. And,
oh yeah.
And they don't know whether to, what to do when she comes running around, but they found out she means business, and they respect. They might not like what she does, but they respect, she's standing up for, and at least some of them do. And the three Amigos don't give a crap about nobody. They're going to do what the hell they want, come, no matter what. But anyway, Jody had a video posted it. She was taking her life into her own hands, trying to turn left onto 365. She would have to go across the road, get into the 2 lanes, get into the median to the middle section, and then turn left into the fast lane on the southbound lanes. And that's just, you're taking your life into your own hands. You can't even get across. There's traffic so bad. you can't even get across to the slow lane. You know, it's not like the highway is like going on Jaymore.
Yeah.
You pull out turn left out of Jaymore coming back towards Gainesville, they got that third left lane over there that merges into the fast lane. It goes about 200 or 300 yards where you can come straight out of Jaymore and get into that lane and pick up speed so you can merge into traffic safely.
It still gets dangerous up there.
Oh, it does. I go up and I U-turn sometimes getting out of there. I don't try to go across, you know. I mean, it's just, and there's no room. They can't put another red light up that close to Whitehall and all those, and you know, it's not feasible.
And it's always, Kane, I'm 40 right now, and I've lived here nearly all of my life. It's always kind of blown me away because my grandfather retired from the Georgia DOT. But that whole stretch from where it forks off from 85, from 985 down below Buford, from that point all the way up to 360, all that 360, that is all the goofiest. I mean, is it a highway? Is it interstate? Is it a little county? I mean, come on, make up your mind, because that's the issue.
They never thought that the interstate would grow that quick.
And well, that's the thing. The issue is you've got people that come traveling from 85, 285 to 85, all the way up, and it's a continuation of 985. Right. And they're still going 85, 90 mile an hour.
You got it, Rabbit Town right there. That's the end of access control. That's the end of federal lane. And Georgia ain't got enough money to put in access roads. They'd have to redo every one of those roads up through there and put in exits. And then they'd have to put access roads in off the exits, like how Gwinnett County used to be. You'd see all them businesses on the side of the interstate. You wonder, how in the world do I get to them things? They got access roads.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd cost $1 billion probably to put that in all the way up and down 365 by the time you bought all the land and built it.
And you got to think of how many different roads there'd be too, because you got through there. You got Lanier Tech, you got Ramsey Road, Kubota.
Yeah. You put access roads in up to the only way you could do it feasibly is to have the builders that are building up
pay for it, yeah.
Pay for parts of it, and do it. I mean, but they got to do something, because that intersection's up through there. That stretch of road's one of the 5 deadliest stretches in North Georgia, Hall County, definitely. Those people get killed. Just a couple of years ago, a whole family got killed trying to cross the road. I mean, and it's not just at that one intersection, it's several intersections up and down. Even it still happens at the YMCA where they put the red lights up because people trying to fly through them red lights, or they don't see them, or they're not paying attention. I mean, it's just without access control, it's dangerous.
Oh yeah.
I used to go up Jaymore probably once a week. And the past several years, I don't go up there once a month. I go maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Basically, when I get peaches in, I'll go up there and get peaches or something, and that's about it. I mean, it ain't worth risking your life going up there. Bumper to bumper traffic. And don't get me wrong, I don't drive like a granny. I mean, I drive the speed limit or a little bit faster, and I don't drive aggressive, but I don't drive passive either,
Yeah.
And hell, you can't drive safe. And you got all them homes going up through there, all them trees getting torn down, and all that extra water is not going to be soaking into the ground once them trees and stuff's removed. You get all that asphalt, and it's just going to be runoff running into these rivers and streams and the lake, more pollution, and it's not feasible. It's not what North Hall County is supposed to be. And at the past several meetings over this, there's been no less than 3 or 4 citizens every meeting talking about this, talking how they don't want it. And our commissioner in this district, I'm in District 3, Greg Poole, didn't want it. But the others, they didn't give a damn. They just passed it along.
And what was Cagle Mill here? I think 130 acres.
Yeah.
323 units.
Yeah, they're putting like, oh, he said, oh, the county code allows like 7.2 units per acre. Because that considers like if you put apartments and all that. We're only putting in 2.7 or something like that. Well, and 59 acres of it's going to be
green space or something.
Green space. Man, that green space in them subdivisions, it don't amount to jack. Oh, every property backs up to the green space. What the hell? You going to have 300 homes backing up to one big patch of grass?
And the inland port's going to be right behind that.
Yeah, and then you got a pool right there, and you're going to have tennis courts or whatever. It's like the subdivision they put on White Sulphur Road right here where White Sulphur and Pine Valley go in. Oh, yeah, we're going to have green space and amenities. They done built a swimming pool. Hell, it's the damn home swimming pool. You can't fit 10 people in it. I need to take pictures of it next time I go by there. I mean, it's one of them little kidney bean swimming pool like things you see at the old hotels and motels.
Just
you got 350 homes going in there, and you got all them people wanting to use that one little bitty swimming pool. That's just all that green space and swimming pools and stuff and tennis courts and pickleball courts. That's just a hook to snow over the commissioners and the public to make it sound like they give a damn, and they don't. These developers do not care.
Well, they know the couple buzzwords that the community will want to buy in with.
Yeah. Well, and Greg Poole made them put it in there to where the developer was going to have to pay for the
paving. The gravel road.
Cagle Mill Road because it was too narrow for any traffic and all that stuff. $1 million, 1.1 million, $1,078,000 or something like that. And it wouldn't go over that. If it did, then the county would pay the rest, and if it didn't, then they'd get a refund of their deposit and all this. But what's going to happen is just like it happened last year. There's one subdivision being built off of Blackjack Road and Athens Highway. Not Athens Highway, 129 going towards Athens. And the developer kept him hauling around and bitching because there's a big sharp curve on Blackjack Road or one of the roads that come off of it. And it wasn't wide enough for what they needed. So Kathy Cooper last year made a motion to where the county had paid for most of it just to get it done. And the builder got off the hook because he just hauled around and didn't do it. It cost the county $600,000 if I'm not mistaken. I mean, that's the same thing that's going to happen here. If that guy does not prepay up front, that's the same thing that's going to happen out there.
Yeah, I guarantee it happens in all these small towns all around.
Yeah. And they put in provisions where he can't get any building permits in 2026, and then only 50 in 2027, and then 100 or 150 in 2028, the rest of them in 2029 or something. I mean, if you got to put in provisions like that, then the damn thing shouldn't be built.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be built. I mean, and I understand it's going to probably work out that way anyway, because he's not going to just open up and sell 300 lots. I mean, that's just the way it is. And they're talking about $300,000 to $600,000 homes. Well, the way inflation is in building products and labor and the land, $300,000, you can't even build a 1,200 square foot house, ranch style house for $300,000 now. You can build it for that, but when I'm saying to build a house that for that price point, it ain't gonna be more than 1,300 square feet.
Yeah.
And in some of these subdivisions, Hall County's got regulations where it's got to be a minimum of 1,800 square feet.
It's automatically gonna be like a $700,000, $800,000 home.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's why they wonder why housing is not affordable. Anytime the county puts in restrictions like that, where it's got to be brick. There's got to be a minimum 1,800 square feet. It's got to have metal roofs, or can't have vinyl siding. It's got to have hardy plank or whatever. Jacks the prices up. I own my land. You shouldn't be able to tell me what I can put on.
Yep.
Now I understand if you got a subdivision with $300,000 or $400,000 homes, you ain't gonna come in there and put an 800 square foot shack in or nothing. It's just, I mean, that's just common sense. I mean,
and that's what I was about to say. Is it's a lot of these. It's basically like HOAs on steroids.
oh yeah.
So they've graduated from the HOAs, so let's do it for the entire city. And I get it, like you said, I get it. You want to keep the curb appeal up. You don't want it to look like slums. Now, here's the other thing too. Like I said, I've said this before. You got that double-edged sword with property values, because they're going to say, "Oh, we're increasing our living standards here," and it benefits you, the residents, because now your property values go up, and everybody. Most everybody that's a homeowner is a homeowner because they see it as an investment. It's a long-term investment. I buy this house in 20, in 15, 20, 30 years, pay it off. I've got my mortgage paid off, got my house paid off. It's something that I own that I can pass on to my, family, whatever I want to do. It's an investment. But like I said before, who else wants to see your property values go up?
The
tax collector.
Yeah.
Tax collector. So it's like, they do this, like you said, they set the minimum square footage. They set these minimum requirements, no, this siding has to be upgraded to this. These shingles have to be this quality. And now you said the minimum price point for any home moving forward. I mean, you forget your grandfathered in homes. I mean, you'll get lucky to get one of those. All your new homes being built forward, like you said, you're going to be looking at $500,000 minimum.
Well, and the thing is, they shouldn't be taxing unrealized gains anyway on property taxes. You make the new people that's moving in pay the high prices. You don't screw the person that's been there 20 years.
I've been saying that too. If you want to charge an annual property tax, if that has to be done, then base it off of the purchase price when it was purchased.
Yeah. Like my parents have lived in their home. They built it for $80,000, 1988.
Yep. That's what their value should be based off of.
2,500 square feet, split level home. I mean, pretty nice house. And now it's worth $350,000. And through no fault of their own, until they became older, their property taxes was $3,000. I got the property tax bill for it because I got, I help them out with. It's $800 and something this year, but without the homestead exemption, it would have been $2,987.
Yeah.
I mean, and that ain't right. And
no, it's not.
And it's like Melanie and the Concerned Citizens group, she was talking about, she lives in Flair Branch, and they were building a subdivision next to her. A brand new subdivision next to the one she lives in. Back, it was a nice subdivision. They'd all lived in $250,000 houses, which now are $300,000 or $400,000 houses. And the mayor goes, I don't know why anyone would object to having $700,000-800,000 homes being built next to them. Well, yeah, you can barely afford the property taxes on what you're living in now. When those homes are built, you're going to have to sell.
Yep.
You're going to have to move because you're not going to be getting a new job at 60 years old, 50, 60, 65 years old. Say you've lived there 20 years, 30 years. Your house, a $250,000 house is went to a $500,000 house within 5 or 6 years. I mean, people can't pay that. I mean, and it's just, And the county don't give a rip because that's just more tax money for them.
And then it goes back to what we are saying. It's that cycle where they're trying to almost tax you to death. So you move out, then investors buy it. And now at this point, now there's minimum requirements for this home. So it's that gentrification we're talking about, where now you've got to put a $500,000 or $500,000 home minimum, where it used to be $100,000 home.
Yeah.
So now you're losing all the affordable housing, and it sucks because I ain't saying they've conned the citizens into backing it up and supporting it, but they've sold that idea of, we need these higher standards for our communities, or else everybody's going to build a trailer park next to you and you're going to get robbed in the middle of the night. That's what everybody wants to say. Yeah. That's what they want everybody to feel like. Oh, we can't have that. We can't have that. Banks County still, there's still plenty of places around here that have some. It's getting more rare. It's becoming more and more rare, but I don't know any place in Georgia anymore where anybody could move that's an affordable entry level price. But my opinion of a entry level affordability is long gone.
Well, just 10 years ago, you could buy a starter home, 1,400 square foot, for $150,000 tops.
Yeah,
like a one level ranch house. 1,200, 3 bedrooms. You could draw they wasn't big bedrooms, 10 by 12 or whatever, or the bedroom, but the master bedroom maybe 16 by 20, but you had a living room, a kitchen. You could live comfortable in it.
Yep.
Hell, I grew up in an 800 square foot house. I'm talking, sometimes we had 6 or 7 people living with us when my aunt and uncle both lost their jobs in the late 70s, early 80s, when oil and everything was so high. They had to move in with us. We had 6, 8 people living with us in an 800 square foot house.
Oh, yeah.
We was in there. We was like a damn clown car. It was, but we didn't know no better. We did what we had to do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's the problem today, is all these people are spoiled. Oh, I'm poor. I can't pay my bills, but you walk around with $1,200 iPhone in your hand.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of people and that's the thing too. You see, and I keep seeing updates on my, on Google and on my Internet Explorer. I keep seeing updates that the housing market crisis is about to burst, and it's about to burst. And I get it, because it is. It's like I said, luckily I didn't fall into that trap. But
the thing is, and if you have to sell your home,
yeah, where are you going to move?
Yeah, you can't afford to buy nothing to replace it.
But that's the thing, though, is it's a mindset, and it's not necessarily just the entertainment world that's made it this way, but you've got all those goofy reality shows. You got all these goofy things that are anything but reality.
Oh, yeah.
And all these people believe, I got to have this brand new Yukon Denali. I got to have this brand new, top of the line I got to have all this stuff. And we got to have how much do you bring home a month? Because that's our budget. And that's not your budget. What you bring home should not be your budget.
Well, and you got all these people now that I can't afford to live and buy a home. I can't afford to even rent. Get some freaking roommates if you're single.
Yeah.
I grew up, I had to have roommates.
Yeah.
I had lived with 2 or 3 people at all times till I got married and started having a family. You had to have roommates.
Oh, yeah. But it's funny, because I watch some of these shows where people are house shopping, and you'll see a young couple, and they're like, oh, yeah, I'm a police officer and I'm a teacher. What's your budget? $850,000. It's like, where? Exactly. Who starts out in their 20s with I don't even know how much that is a month. What is it, $5-6 grand a month, maybe?
Minimum.
I don't even know. But that's what's crazy, is people get into that thinking, hey, Johnny makes X amount a month, we can afford it. No, stop living paycheck to paycheck, which everybody does. Everybody lives
Well,
paycheck
they're
to
getting where they have to now.
Oh yeah. I mean, the thing is, back then, the entry level prices were at a point where you could be 20-25% of your gross.
Oh,
And
yeah.
now I see 2-person incomes in a household spending every dime of that just on the mortgage. And I'm like, how do you even have money for groceries?
Exactly.
And they don't. And you see them in these chat rooms all the time. Hey, our power's getting cut off. What church can help us? Where can we find food? It's cold. I'm like, it's sad. And
it is. And the thing is, and they beg for the government to help, but the government is what caused the issue.
Well, it's not that, because it's funny, there's that income requirement too.
Yeah.
These people they're spending every bit of their income, but the bad thing is their income exceeds that threshold, so they don't qualify for the handouts.
Exactly.
But they've got zero in the bank.
And then you go to get a loan or increase your loan, your debt to income ratio is so high that you can't get any more approved for any more loans. And then you got to start getting credit cards. And that's when you start getting in deep troubles, when you start living off credit cards. And, and that's what's going to keep happening with all this growth that's going on.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I seen an article a couple months ago that Georgia's got more homes on the market now than they've had in the last 10 years, since 2015. More homes got pulled off the market in November. I was reading an article on AJC the other day than any time since like 2012. Because people, instead of selling their home in 30, 45 days, they're sitting 3, 4, 5, 6 months sometimes.
Damn.
And I seen this in 2008 when I owned my construction company. I seen the writing on the wall. That's when I went into computers and computer program building websites and stuff. So the builders we worked for, because we didn't build complete houses, we just did like additions and sunrooms and improvements and stuff. And some of the builders we worked for, the houses they was building, they were, instead of selling them 30 days, they're sitting there 3, 4, 5 months. And I told my brother-in-law that was my business, I said, I'm out. I said, I don't get to see my kids all the time because I was in a bad custody battle. I only had them every other weekend. And I said, you're married to my sister. Y'all got y'all's kids full time. I said, you need the income, one. I said, we'll be able to feed one, but we can't feed both of us. So I went into something else, and because I had a little more freedom and leeway to be able flexibility to do that. And if I was having to travel to go wherever, see my kids or whatever, I could do what I'm doing on a laptop or whatever, I wasn't tied to the house or I had to be there. So, but yeah, and we're going to start seeing a lot of that coming on too. You want to see these builders going under. I mean, and now the government's done making them give mortgages to people that don't qualify. That's what happened back in 2008. They started making Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac give mortgages to all these unqualified people. And they'd put them in these balloon notes where they'd have a small payment for the first 5 to 7 years of the mortgage.
Let me show you. I'll show you. Hold on. Keep talking. I'm going to find something.
And then after that time, they either got to pay the note off or get it refinanced or whatever. And their financial situation hadn't improved in that 5 years or 7 years, and they lose their houses. I mean, it's just, and we're building all these apartments, which they ain't got no choice because people can't afford to buy homes. So they're having to move into these apartments.
So I'll show you a funny tidbit that a lot of people don't realize. What's the current interest rates right now? So I don't even know, 6?
Something like that.
high fives.
It just dropped the other day. Let me look it up. Okay, current mortgage interest rates. Let's see. Come on, jackass. Everywhere you go is wanting you to damn put in whether you're a resident or 6.22 30-year.
6.22.
5.54 fixed year.
Yeah.
15 years, 5.54. 6.22 30-year fixed. Now Trump's wanting us to go to 50-year mortgages because prices are so high. Why would anybody get a 50-year mortgage? You'd never get your house paid off before you died. You'd pass the debt on to your kids. You'd never build no equity.
Yep. And see, for new people coming in trying to buy a home, they need to understand how that breaks down. And let me show you. So, like I said before, I bought my home back in 2016 for just under 126,000 total.
Right.
All right. At 3.25% interest. And here, let's see if you can see.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me get these numbers. So, what is this? So, does it show?
I see the total payments 987. It's got it broke down principal, interest, escrow.
Yep. So if you see there, the principal is only 336. So say $1,000 total. The principal is only a third at 336. Only a third goes to the actual amount of the home.
Less than that, the first 2 or 3 years of your loan.
The interest is 230, almost as much as the principal. And then you got your escrow, which is
for your house insurance.
Well, it used to be mainly your insurance.
Right.
But now the majority of that is your property taxes.
Right.
So between your property taxes and your interest, that's where your money's going. So when Trump and everybody says we want more homeowners, we want to make home, if you really want to, the issue is with the interest in the property taxes.
Well, the interest can be fine if you get rid of property taxes.
I don't like either one of them.
I don't either, but I understand that the banks have got to.
They do.
They got to make some money off because they're the one putting the risk out there with the money.
Yeah.
I mean,
but if you want to make it more affordable so that person can make those mortgage payments,
you get rid of
then
property.
they need to lay off.
Yeah.
You need to.
My parents, I mean, they're back to their case. They should be paying taxes on $80,000, $88,000, or whatever it cost them to build the house, not $350,000.
Yep.
Now, if they would have refinanced or done improvements or done it, then when you got to get your property reappraised or get a loan against it, then I agree that that's not unrealized gains anymore. You realize those gains. You know,
property taxes, in my opinion, say I buy a house or finance a house for 126. It should just be that one time, just like what was it, DeSantis that was saying it down there? Yep. It should be a one-time sales price, just like you buy a car, you buy a TV, yep. You buy anything. If I buy $100,000 house and the sales tax is 7%, it should be $7,000. Bam, done. Thank you. If you want to roll that $7,000 into your mortgage, okay, then I guess I can see add interest to 30 years, 7,000, whatever. But this variable, well, not variable, but this magic property tax numbers they come up with now, we got to increase, we got to keep increasing.
Well, and then they get these people, we didn't raise the millage rates this year. We actually cut back. It don't matter. Property values go up 100%, and you're cutting back millage rates 3%. I mean, come on.
Oh yeah, you can't bring that up to them though. That'll make them upset. I've done that before. I brought that point up to them because they said that, we've kept our rates low. I said, you did, but your appraisal team has shot the values up to the roof.
Yeah.
So I mean, you may have
You're
said we went from 3.0 to 2.99, but instead of valuing it off 100 grand, we're going off of 200.
Well, it's like the education department, board of education. They used to be a law; they had to have a minimum 14 millage rate. It couldn't go. Then they passed it where it couldn't go. Now they got it where it can go down as low as 10. They cut the millage rate by an under 14 or whatever it was this year. They dropped down under 14 this year. Well, they could have dropped down all the way to 10 if they really wanted to cut taxes.
Yeah.
And they still would have made more money, because when your property values go up between 30 and 100%, depending on where you live.
Yep.
And you cutting it back 4%. I mean, I know I went to public schools, but we did learn something when we was in school. We learned how to add and subtract and multiply and divide. Now today, I can't say that, and I ain't saying it's the teacher's fault by no means. Don't nobody take that the wrong way. It's just the way the educational system is, how the government's dumbing down the educational system, where they're going for test scores instead of actual teaching. But that's a different argument. But they're raping these people, and back to the subdivisions. This 300 something house home 343 on Cagle Mill Road, all that traffic, 2.5 cars. Let's just say 2 cars a house. You're gonna have to build a whole new school. You're gonna have to build a high school, a middle school, and elementary school, because they're putting in 600 homes up in
you already know there's going to be some more gas stations, maybe grocery stores, some restaurants.
Yeah, I mean,
we're going to need some storage units.
No, that's great, because that creates jobs, and it's local jobs. But it's not great because of why they're having to be built. It's just overcrowding, and our infrastructure cannot handle it the way it is now.
Yeah.
And as anybody that's ever worked for the BOT will tell you, now, I mean, your grandfather could, and I've got friends that traffic is usually 30 to 50 years behind building. The roads are usually 30 to 50 years behind growth.
Oh, yeah.
And that's because it takes so long to build a freaking road. They start it, and you go, it may take 5 or 6 years to complete some of it.
And expensive.
Oh, yeah, very expensive.
How many millions per mile?
I can't even remember the numbers.
I don't remember. It's up there, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's very expensive. All right, then we got the Cagle Mill. We got all that going. Kathy Cooper and Jeff Stowe went out there and looked at it. They never even set foot on the property till the day before the meeting. And I know for a fact Cooper told several people to their faces, citizens that asked her after meetings and stuff, that they would vote anyway, that she was going to vote the way Greg Poole wanted them to vote. And when it ended up, they passed it. That's basically, I think, what Poole meant when he said, "You lied to me." And she goes, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You know what you lied about." And that's when he went on his thing. I should have run for 3 seats if I could have. That way I could maybe get something passed on this commission. If you hadn't watched the meeting, you need to go and watch the December 11th Board of Commissioners meeting. We've got all the links on the website at NorthGeorgiaAdvocate.org and our Facebook group, North Georgia Advocate Facebook group, and you can get them in Concerned Citizens, Hall Informed that Jody runs. I mean, there's several groups that are fighting in the same direction,
Yep.
And we're doing it different ways, but we all want the same things,
Yep.
But then we get to
it's good to see too, because I mean the community in all the groups, and in your group, the Harlem Forum, Concerned Citizens Group, all of them honestly are getting recognition from more and more people.
Yeah, and
People like me, regular people.
My group's not as outspoken as the others. We just kind of
Monitor.
we kind of lay low and do stuff a different way. We're our own LLC, and we do stuff. I mean, we're legit. We're not just a organized group of. I mean, we did things a different way.
Yep.
And because what we wanted to accomplish, we had to incorporate, we had to, and do things. But we worked behind the scenes a lot. And you don't understand how many people I have messaging me and the people I know that's in government and was in government and are connected to government. And I mean, we dig up a lot of stuff, and people don't understand how many fire irons in the fire we got behind the scenes and stuff we're working on.
I believe it's like a whole other job.
Oh yeah, it is. And we don't, and there's a time there's times to bring stuff out, there's times not to, but you can't do it until you get ready, until you got all your ducks in a row.
Oh yeah.
Because the way this good old boy network goes in this town, you can't let them have an inkling to know that you know what the heck's going on. You can't let them prepare and get a defense up, because this is the first time ever that the Board of Education, the Board of Commissioners, and the Planning Commissioner has had any pushback. Any pushback they've ever had before, they'd make up some BS excuse or some line of crap that sounded good.
And it'd be forgotten about.
Everybody would say, okay, that's fine, blah, blah, blah. Or they'd delay a big hearing for 6 months or 3 months, and nobody would show back up. But that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, people are growing tired of it now.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, as more and more people go more paycheck to paycheck,
yeah,
people are starting to concern, be more aware and concerned
We've got
about
more
that.
credit card debt than every time in history now. People defaulting on the credit cards, I believe. I read that not long ago. Not long ago, there's more people living off credit cards, and there's more people defaulting on credit cards than
ever before,
or at least in the last 20 years. That's been a long time. I mean, and it's,
dang.
And people can't, and they say, well, yeah, I'll put it on this credit card, and they think they can keep paying it off, but you're paying 29% interest. So you got $5,000 on the credit card, and so you send $250 in.
You're just paying the bare minimum on interest.
I mean, I've got one credit card that I buy all my groceries on and everything, and I pay it off at the end of the month. But during one stretch, I got it up to $5,000, and it took me a couple months to pay it off. My minimum payment was $243 on $5,000. I mean, and it's got like 19% interest. It's like 13% plus prime or whatever. So it's running roughly, and I couldn't imagine some of these credit cards 29, 30, 39%. You may as well just go to the damn Gainesville Finance, one of these finance companies or something. At least that'll work with you more than a credit card company will.
Yep.
Keep renewing it or something, to get you a little bit of cash.
Yeah, go to a local credit union or something.
Yeah, or something. But, and then we go from Cagle Mill, where they screwed the citizens over after they promised they'd vote what Poole wanted. Then we go to the data center.
Uh-oh. Now, this one was a big one in Hall County.
This was huge, and it's still big. There's an article in the Access WDUM today with one of the owners of Project Turbo. And before we get into that, there's a big ruckus. Tons of these people, no data center, no matter what, because they'd all read all this stuff. I'm not for data center or against it. I just want the truth to come out of what it's going to take to build it, what it's going to take to maintain it, because the developers, they're going to bring in best case scenario. All these anti-people is going to bring in all these worst case scenario. They're getting all this data from centers that were built 10 plus years ago, or they were started 10 plus years ago, 5, 6, and technology's gotten a whole lot better since then. And you got several different types of data centers you can have, whether internal or water cooled or fan cooled. I mean, hybrids. I mean, and until you can make an informed decision on a data center, you've got to know what type of data center is going to go in. And the county has not done their due diligence to put in the proper protocols to tell these people exactly what rules they have to follow to have a data center built. And that's why I was suggesting a 6-month moratorium on it, so they could do a feasibility study, best case scenario, worst case scenario, then probable reality. They said the data center was going to come in at 225,000 gallons of water a day, which is fine. Everybody says, oh, they're just saying that, then they can jack it up. Well, they can, but what happens every year when they get audited and they see exactly how much water they're using? The city can tell them to pound sand, or fine them or whatever. And there's already the PSCs put in rules to where if it's over so many kilowatts, that the data center's got to pay the overages that doesn't get spread out to the citizens. They put in some safeguards, but there are carve-outs, like say if an EMC does it, like Georgia Power has to strictly go by it. But like say Jackson EMC or Duke EMC or whatever, they come in, they've got a little less restrictions because they're a membership corporation. The government can't just, it's a little more complicated to make them go by because it's a totally different set of rules, but there's still some safeguards in place. And the thing is you've got all this stuff going on and all these anti data center people, they just hear all these horror stories from across the country. And I understand they got frustrated and mad because when Turbo had that town hall at the Civic Center, they didn't have no answers. Well, that's because they had to sign non-disclosures. They didn't have any answers because the people that's wanting it built, they keep it quiet until it's built because they don't want, what if they're trying to build 10 data centers across the state? Everybody said, well, hell no, you got 9 more going on. You ain't getting one here, but data center space is already rented. That data center that they're going to build, it was about 80% already sold if they'd ever got off the ground. It would have been at capacity before it ever opened its doors. And you look at, I was talking to a few engineers, you look at a poultry plant, they go through 2-3 million gallons of water a month. A house, we talked about earlier, 250 gallons a day. And you're talking 100 homes at 250 gallons a day, times that by 30 days, that's more than a data center. It's just, and the people wasn't going to listen to any reasoning from the people with the data center. They just had pitchforks out.
Yeah, and I think you brought up a good point too, though, is that at the town halls, they weren't able to really give good answers. And they do have the NDAs, the non-disclosure agreements that they have to sign and agree to with their customers. But at the same time, I was showing you, I did my research on them. they're literally the two, Chris Hogue and what's the other one?
I
Grogan.
got his name right here. It's
Grogan.
yeah, Cameron Grogan.
Yep. So both of them, they're just commercial real estate agents.
Pretty much.
If you look up their backgrounds,
Yeah.
a lot of the 985 warehouses in Flowery Branch that are already built that people raised hell about. All these warehouses, they're reps for. They're
Right.
trying to find tenants to move in and rent those spaces.
Right.
That's all they are. They work for a large corporation that owns properties, or they have customers that owns properties. And they say, hey, I have a 1 million square foot storage unit. Find me Amazon, find me whoever can, Wrigley's, SKF, Kubota, Tyson, Publix, whoever, Walmart. If they need to store some stuff, put it over here. And that's what they do. They find both the customer and the renters. They find all of that cycle that for that commercial real estate. So that's where I think Project Turbo failed, is that's their specialty, is the commercial real estate, not necessarily data centers.
But they built several data centers before but the NDA kept them from.
Yeah, but there's still some.
And I'm not taking up for them at all.
Yeah.
They should have come out with a town hall and said, hey,
here's
y'all want answers. You tell us what you want to know. We'll write it down. We'll take it down.
Come to our legal.
We're not going to debate it. We're not going to debate it tonight. We're not going to be able to answer your questions. We'll just take down all the information, and we'll come back in 30 more days with some answers.
Or
45 days with some answers or whatever. We'll hold another town hall.
Like I told all the citizens here in Brazelton when I was running for mayor, we can put it on Facebook and leave it open.
Yeah.
Put a Project Turbo Q&A open post. Here's an open post. You post your question. We'll run it to our legal team, the lawyers. We'll come up with an informed answer that we can divulge, and here's the best answer we can give you.
Yeah, you can do it on Facebook, do it on Reddit, do it anywhere, several places.
Because here's the thing, I know a lot of the issues the people I know, a lot of their issues were just the mystery behind it, the unknown.
I get it.
Nobody knows. Do they even have a customer? Because that's the thing. It's not a data center that's already got an end user, like secure.
You got 1 million feet. They may have 50 customers. They may have 500 customers.
Exactly.
They may have 2 customers.
Exactly. So I mean, a lot of people are saying, "Oh, they're going to store all of our flock data there," and here's the thing, though. People got a lot of valid questions, because if they are just the property owner, that's the middleman leasing it for the property owner to a customer, then who actually owns the hardware and the property for your data? Is it Google that's renting the space, or is it the property owners who own the hardware?
Right.
And who's maintaining it? And then where's the privacy? And as far as I could tell, also that Avis and Young that's behind it is a Canadian group. They're not even American.
Right. I hadn't dug into it that far. I mean, I've talked on text and chat with Chris Hogue several times, and I get it. He got frustrated and come across as a smart ass at that meeting. And one reason was is you had a bunch of them coming up there. Oh, you could use 200,000 gallons of water in the sprinkler system. You don't have water sprinkler systems on electrical fires. I mean, and Gibbs pointed that out at the meeting. Do a little bit if you're going to argue, at least don't just listen to everything that you hear in these petroleum and electrical fires. You use certain chemicals on. You don't use water.
Yep.
And and when you start arguing with misrepresented facts like that, that just turned. That's what Gibbs, he got mad about. He says, hell, y'all were up here arguing about stuff that's not even legitimate. That makes them mad, like saying, y'all make it sound like we're not doing our jobs. We're too stupid to realize that, you know, and it pisses the commissioners off, at least the ones that care.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a big mess that, and I talked to, you know, several of them, and the city of Gainesville, they've done their homework. They've already approved that 985 business park that it backs up to. They have already done their homework, and data centers are an approved
entity.
They're an approved type of business that could go into that business park. You know, even though Hall County has mentioned data centers in their UDC or whatever, saying it was possible, or that's why they wanted to build there, they haven't done their due diligence. The city's pretty much done their due diligence, and they were smart, and they got it rezoned light industrial. So now it'll be easier for them. If the county can't work nothing out, they'll be annexed into the city. And all these people mad that were against the data center, they gonna have, the data center's gonna be built anyway. And if you, I've got the article posted in the North Georgia Advocate Facebook group, the interview in the paper today with Grogan, and he literally just said that, I'm gonna paraphrase it right quick. He said, we want to clear up any confusion. We withdrew our application, not because we want to walk, but because it's clear the county has not yet decided if it wants a data center, and they have to come up with some rules and regulations of how that land can be developed for a data center in the future. So we're still confident about the site. We want to move forward.
Yeah.
But for everybody involved, we had to all take a step back so we could regroup and figure out what both parties wanted. Then they had the interview with the 5 at 5 team on WDUN, the Drive at 5 team on WDUN. They asked him about the fit of the land, and he said, oh, it's a perfect fit where it's at. That's what it was made for. I mean, that's a great site for it. That's what he said the whole time. Then they asked about the city of Gainesville. He said that annex option has always been on the table, right? And he said, but they didn't realize that to get sewer, it goes on here. It said, it's become apparent that for sewer, annexation would be required. So up until recently, they didn't realize that they had to get annexed into the city to get sewer. So that pretty much tells you right there, the county either needs to get in gear or it's going into the city. You know, and he says, in working with the Lake Lanier Association, they reached out and said that, you know, what we were going to use, 225,000 gallons a day. He said, if we use that, even with the lake down the way it is, it would take them 12 and a half years to drain 1 inch off the top of the lake, the level of the lake, because of the rate it refills. They're not used. He said, it's not like we're taking that water and the lake's not filling back up. He said, that's even if it don't rain and drought. I mean, that's just with the rivers flowing into the lake. He said, because if you're using water-cooled systems, you're only replacing the evaporation. They're treating any water that goes through it and then putting it back into the source. And that's the Lake Lanier. And the only way they can do that is if they've got sewer. If they didn't have sewer, they'd just be releasing it into a retention pond or whatever, and there'd be a lot more waste. And we've got more answers out of this article and on Access WDUN right now than they got in the whole town hall.
Yeah.
And I know, and you know, it's a bad situation because I'm not for it. Like I said, I'm not for it. I'm not against it. But you can't be thumping your chest and saying, "Oh, we defeated the data center," when you don't know whether it'll be a good or bad thing. Just because somebody says it's bad, don't mean it's bad. You know, just because it didn't work out. It's like I try to tell my kids they wouldn't go get a job somewhere because their buddy had a bad fight with the manager and said he was a jerk. Well, that don't mean nothing. You could get along with him fine if you go in there with a good attitude. I mean, it has nothing to do with any. Those two things are not even correlated.
Yeah.
Each city's different. Each water situation's different. And again, I know it sounds like I'm stumping for the data center, but I'm not. I just want to know. I'd vote it down if they come back and it wasn't feasible and it was going to hurt the water system and the county and everything. I'd say hell no. But you got to know what you're voting for. Yeah. I mean, you can't compare apples and oranges and vote for a banana. I mean, and that's pretty much what we're doing at this point.
Yeah. And see, they missed an opportunity there because, you know, right now,
it's going to be hard to gain trust back. Yeah.
Well, not just that, it's still going to be an uphill battle regardless, because more and more citizens every day are standing up and becoming more informed. But not just that, but they missed an opportunity with the city of Gainesville's water quality right now. Like we said, there's a lot of people still. That's a big issue right now that the people are talking about. And I've told my friends, I said, if the data center had promised to filter all the outgoing water, shoot, they probably could have
paid for the filtration center.
If they said, look, our water has to meet, you know, purity standards that are above your drinking water standards. If we purify all that water coming into our data center to cool our servers and we send it out to you in a much cleaner state than what you're getting now, they could have probably bought off at least a third of the people. I mean, because hell, that's not a bad idea.
And what these people in the county, and I'm not saying they're wrong for protesting the data center and saying, look, we don't want it because nobody knew what the hell's being built, what's going on. But now it's getting to the point to where they ain't even gonna have a say so, because nothing that the people in the county say is gonna matter in the city. All they've got to worry about is those 30,000 people that live inside the city, or 45,000, whatever it is, live inside the city limits. You know.
Well, that'd be Zach Thompson there. He's got his hands full now. So.
Oh yeah, I know Zach well. I grew up with Zach and Ryan, and
he just took on that spot. So that'll be,
you know, and
welcome to the rodeo, partner.
You got that right.
Step on in.
All the way. He's getting out at the right time, it looks like. But Zach will handle it well. I mean, I trust Zach to do what's right. I mean, my family's known his family for a long time. I mean, and he's a great guy, and he'll do what's right for the city if he can. Now, it could be a situation where he won't. I'm not saying it's going to be, but when you've got a situation like it's in Hall County right now, you got 2 that want to do what's right for the citizens, and you got 3 that want to do what's right for the pocketbooks or whatever. I mean, it's going to vote for all growth. I mean, what do you do?
You know, I've been, since this came up, and not just this one, but ones in Decatur, ones all across the state of Georgia, because it's a trend, and that's all it is. It's a trend. And I've told people, I said, this is the rich boy, the tech boy version of the car wash, laundromat, and storage unit entrepreneurial side. That's been like the trend, you know, for all these influencers on TikTok. That, oh, you want to get rich with passive income, get a car wash and go collect quarters every month, get vending machines. This data center trend, that's all this is a commercial rental play for the tech guys. They see a piece of land, we can build it, and here's the thing too. So there's like I mean, like you said before, most of these data centers have I was reading, they have an 18-month to 2-year lease already.
Yeah.
Before the ground has even been broken.
Oh, yeah. Used to be
They've
like
already got, they've already got guaranteed income already coming in.
yeah.
So it's a trend. That's why it's all over. You're discussing Melanie earlier. She's put up some numbers how the U.S. has over 5,500 data centers so far.
And the reason is we've got the land and the infrastructure and the resources to do it, and
the
we
tax
don't have,
incentives and
there's a lot of green policies over in Europe that drive up the cost of everything for no reason, but that's a different story. They can come here and do it a whole lot cheaper, even if we do have some higher taxes. But
But here's the thing too, though, that you pointed out is, they're basing this off of technology, the naysayers, right? They're basing this off of the builds and the technology from 10 years ago. Well, here's the scary cycle to that loop is, say this one does get approved through City of Gainesville. They put this massive center out there with these new servers, state of the art. Well, guess what? In 10 years, that data center is going to be obsolete.
Well, they can upgrade servers a whole lot easier than they just pull them out, and it ain't like they're gonna have to tear the building down and start over.
They can, but here's the thing though: how's that space gonna change? I know they're still gonna have to store stuff on hardware. I know that.
Oh yeah, everything.
I mean, they keep making big leaps in progress with quantum computing and everything. I mean, you never know, man. These 5,500 that we have now, it could only take 5. In 20 years, you might only need 5 mega centers that could do the work of these 5,500
right
that we currently got. So I mean,
that'd still be used for smaller operations, like
good.
And but
it's just a lot of uncertainty, I think, is what the issue with the people.
But the thing is, this data centers are not going away. Everything's going more AI. Everything's going more automated. I mean,
and see, I've been looking at it too. I mean, they're talking about some of these places are mounting them underwater. So they've got underwater. I think the military is the ones that's mainly exploring those, but they've got underwater data centers. That way, it stays cool that way.
Right.
Some of them are using oil-based fluids with immersion technology. I don't know all the details on that one.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming in.
But I mean, seriously though, they could have gotten a little creative and said, "Here, we'll build an underground data center. So you got the geothermal cooling properties there. We'll build it underground, and we'll put 12 soccer fields on top of it." I mean, they could have come up with something more creative than just, we're putting an unknown data center here and you're going to have to deal with it. You're getting it no matter. Yeah, no. And that's kind of the attitude they came in with, is we're putting a data center here and we're getting it.
And that Chris Hogue, he's a good dude, I believe, overall. I mean, I've talked to him a couple times and on chat and text and, and I get it. He come across the smart ass at that meeting on December 11th. And I get it. He was sick and tired of he couldn't even talk without people yelling and screaming. And
because they don't close it. He don't close that deal. I'm sure he ain't getting his bonus. I'm sure.
Exactly. And I get it. And I don't think they decided to pull, because Vicky brought up that at the meeting that there's people on that property doing not work for the data center, but like looking at it and doing stuff, and that's there for the data center. And that tells me they didn't decide to pull that damn permit till sometime in the day on the day of the meeting.
At last minute.
Because they wouldn't have sent them people out there and had to pay them if they were still, they may have not made the decision until them people went out there and told them what they thought about it. They could have been out there finding how much. See, because only an eighth of the land's got to touch city property for them to be annexed in.
Yeah, the city of Gainesville.
Yeah. And so they could have been out there finding out how much land touched the city or anything, I don't know. I didn't see him. I didn't talk to him. Just Vicky just brought it up at the meeting, and I don't know nothing more about it than that. But there's a lot of stuff that goes on in this stuff, and we just need answers before we can make a decision. And the county's gonna have to. The Board of Commissioners got to make some hard decisions in the next 6 months to a year to decide what in the world they're going to, how they want to proceed with data centers. May not be this one, but there's going to be another one come knocking on the door.
And it's not just our cities and counties. I mean, honestly, I've seen this when I worked at Wrigley's. And go back to what we were just talking about with stuff becoming obsolete after 10, 15 years. You would want, and I'm definitely not for big brother, big government. I'm not. But you do want some sort of standards on how data centers should be built. I mean, whatever the least invasive cooling system is, that should be recommended. I'm not saying, and again, I'm pro America, I'm pro freedom, pro choice. You should have the ability to choose how you build whatever you want, really.
Yeah.
So if you want to build a cooling system made of lava, I mean, hell, you should go for it, you idiot. I mean, it ain't gonna work, but go for it. You got that ability to spend money how you see fit. But there should be a standard, so that way at least it's more. I'm not saying more common, but
it'll be more efficient, and you know what you're getting when you're going in, and
yeah, that way it's more familiar with everybody. I mean, you already see it with power stations. I mean, most substations, they all have pretty same standard and layout.
Yeah, you got the ICI and all the electrical and all that. They've got their brotherhoods and their union. I mean, they're that organization that sets the standards worldwide.
Yep.
For the most part. I mean, they get tweaked here and there, but you got to go to their minimums, and you can go above and beyond, but it's got to meet these minimums.
Yep. And I think until there's more, I don't even say there needs to be more standards. There just needs to be more discussion, more open communication around it.
And I think each county or state needs to set their own standards because each state's different. I mean, Arizona, they don't get a lot of rain. And so, Georgia gets a lot of rain most of the time, it's each state's different, and they should be able to, but there should be minimum standards.
There should be.
And
I ain't, let's say I'm not on one side or the other, but in my opinion, this goes back on the two guys there, Hogue and Grogan there, that didn't inform the buyers well enough. They didn't inform.
I think they kind of got caught off guard. They thought they'd just go in there
smooth sailing, no issues,
and have 15, 20 people show up or 50 people show up and
slide on through
and be there in an hour tops, an hour and a half. And that thing lasted 3.5, 4 hours. I mean,
so if you look at all their past warehouses, like I said, they're involved with all the warehouses recently, all up and down Atlanta Highway, Winder Highway, all these warehouses. I mean, they're involved with a lot of them, and they didn't get any opposition for all those.
Yeah, no, I mean, you can't blame them. I mean, I'm not taking up for them. I'm just saying they just got caught off guard.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They knew there was going to be pushback. They just didn't realize there was pushback. And
it's been a hot one.
Yeah, and it's not over either because, like Poole said, he said we've got to come up with standards because we don't have to do the first one in Hall County because there's going to be a whole lot more trying to come through, and that's the way it should be, but we got to know what we're voting on. I mean, and what we're getting, and if it's good for the county, it's good for the county. I mean, like you were talking about earlier, we'd rather have 600 homes or a data center.
Yeah.
Because 600 homes brings in a whole lot more problems than the data center.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean, even data centers all around Hall County, but
yeah, because even in fancy homes, you bring in that many homes, It brings in more crime, even if it's just domestic disturbances.
Oh yeah.
You still bring in more chances of theft and burglary, and as you bring in more targets, so you bring in new nice homes and new nice cars. Now,
Like you mentioned, that you can only have, you got to have so many firehouses per capita. You're gonna have to build new firehouses, hire more.
Not to mention, look at Candler Highway right there already, 60. I mean, it's a 2-lane road.
I know.
And same thing with, like, when I was running for mayor here, you know, you got 53 and 211, 2-lane roads. It's a main road. And like we've said before, look at what's going to happen on 60 when the inland port opens up. That's going to be one of the connecting roads between 85 and 985, 365 to get up to inland port. You've got 211, 53, and then right up is 60.
Then you watch, they're gonna end up building go around up through Lula and everywhere else. They're wanting to build it to touch 85 on that end.
I've heard that already.
In Banks County, they're wanting to go through up there all the way from 365 and Highway 51 and 52, take it all the way over and tying over there near the outlet malls and shit, you know.
Yeah.
So that inland port is going to cause a ton, and before anything can get done, we're going to move on to this fiasco with the planning commission. Supposed to have the meeting on Wednesday to have the evidentiary hearing to see if there's enough evidence to remove them from office or whatever. And they got caught, you know, having 11 meetings with a quorum, 3 or more employees, and not advertising it. That's against the Open Meetings Act. Sunshine laws is what they're called. And they denied it. They're trying to blame the county staff, saying that they didn't publish it. They should have known we were meeting. And we're not responsible because we don't ever publish the meetings in the paper or on the website or anything anyway. The staff's the one that publishes it. So we can wash our hands of it. Then the video, they said, oh, they don't have any audio from the video. They don't know what we were talking about. Well, they've got several staff members that's in the report. They've got notes that the staff members took about who was there, what they talked about, when they talked about it. And I don't blame the staff members for taking the notes. They had to cover their butts. When they told them that these meetings were illegal and they bust them off and ignored it, they had to cover their butts. So they started writing down everything to say, hey, we told them this is what was going on. This is because they did say in some of them that when more than 3 came in the room, they were not talking about.
Yeah.
But so they didn't come out and just say they were never talking about it. Sometimes they said they were talking about stuff. So, you know, they're not lying. They're not just going to pick and choose which meetings they were.
Yeah, discussing
county stuff or discussing somebody's birthday party.
Yep.
You know, they have no reason to just make stuff up for some of the meetings. You'd make it up for all the meetings if you were lying. And, you know, they had an evidentiary hearing today claiming that the Board of Commissioners doesn't have the authority to hire and fire on something like this, that Superior Court has to find that something was wrong and that the laws were broken. But what they don't understand is, like the judge said today, the Planning Commission is not technically not employees of the county. They're not elected. They're not hired. They are appointed. And they can be removed for cause no matter what. If they find that they did something unethical. And one of the attorneys for the county, the lady for the county, I got it right here, her name, she did a good job Angela Couch said, well, there was a case in Gwinnett County or DeKalb County where a cop got fired for domestic dispute. He went to court, got found innocent, found out it was all made up, blah, 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 and he tried to get his job back, and they wouldn't hire him back because he still broke the code of ethics. And the Superior Court judge ruled that they did not have to hire him back because he broke the code of ethics, you know.
Yeah.
And the judge even brought up, like, what if we're in a meeting and one of the guys gets up and starts cussing everybody out and, you know, and threatens to whoop somebody and all that? That's grounds to be removed from office. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
That could be considered against the code of ethics. And they're saying that since the county has already publicly claimed that they're wanting to remove him from office, that they can't get a fair hearing. They're saying that, but the thing is, at this hearing on Wednesday, the Board of Commissioners is not going to be doing anything. They don't even have to show up. The hearing's still going to go on. The county has hired a hearing officer, an independent third party that's going to hear evidence. They've got all the evidence that the county's got already. They're going to hear evidence from the defendants and
the outside judge too, right?
The judge today was from Gwinnett County. Yes.
Yeah.
And she knew nothing about this case till she read the briefings on Friday.
Yep.
And she said that, look, the county Board of Commissioners are not trying to find anybody guilty. They cannot find you guilty. They can't find you criminally guilty. They can't find you guilty of civilian in law. This is an evidentiary hearing. After the evidence is collected from the
everywhere,
the hearing,
trial,
the hearing monitor, the dude that's in charge of the hearing, he will turn it over to the county and then they'll make a decision. And then the judge said if they disagreed, if they got removed from office, then they could appeal it to Superior Court. The judge hadn't ruled yet, and she was fair and listening to both sides. I've got all my notes posted on North Georgia Advocate's Facebook page and Hall Informed, and it's pretty detailed 6-page notes. I'm just hitting the high spots here. And there's a reason that the Planning Commission don't want all this stuff to come out at the hearing on Wednesday. And it ain't got nothing to do with, I'm just saying this is my opinion by listening to everything today. And I think it makes me wonder, what all does the staff actually have on these guys? That they didn't really tell, they didn't get asked. I think when they went into the hearing when the third party investigated them before they could bring the charges, that Beth and them didn't give up anything other than what they were asked. They know a lot more than
what they gave out. Yeah.
Than what they gave out, and they're afraid that they're going to be pissed off, loaded for bear, because they're trying to blame the staff instead of taking responsibility for their own act. So they're afraid they're going to come in loaded for bear. I mean, that's just my opinion after hearing everything. And there's a reason that, why wouldn't you just walk away? Why would you fight for this? I mean, and get your name dragged through the mud. And they also tried to claim that, they didn't get a chance to have discovery. Well, for evidentiary hearings like this, you don't get a discovery. This is not a criminal trial. It's not a civil trial. Then they tried to say, well, the judge did say that, look, you don't get discovery and evidentiary hearing. You're getting to prevent you. That's why you have the hearing. You get to present your evidence at the hearing. Do you have any evidence that you're not going to get to present your side? And they couldn't. And he kept bringing up case law, and it was all in criminal or civil court. And their appointees are not technically not covered by the Constitution like an elected official would be, or a state official. They don't have the same rights as those people because they're appointed. They're technically not employees. They can be removed from office at any time. And then they tried to say that there's a 90-day statute on anything for open records and all that. And they said, oh, it's out of the statute. Well, she said, technically you're right, but just because it's outside the statute doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Say a man beat his wife 2 years ago, and it's out of the statute of limitations for him to be charged criminally. That doesn't mean she can't file a civil suit.
Well, it don't mean she didn't still get her, beat.
Exactly. She goes, that doesn't mean that incident did not happen.
Yep.
And she said, and in code of ethics, stuff that you did while in office can still be used against you. That 90-day statute of limitations is just for criminal charges. If you did something criminal or something, and it's 60 days for civil, 90 for criminal or something. There's a 60-day thing in there as well. I got it in my notes somewhere.
That, like you said, it's a reputation too. Even if it's not criminal, you're still found guilty of breaking the laws and doing it. That's still on your character and your reputation. So come next round of voting, people ain't gonna forget that.
I've talked to several people that think the three Amigos are gonna vote to keep them in office no matter what.
Yeah.
Because they're all thick as thieves. The three that's up on charges, they're just as crooked as the three that keep voting.
Yep.
They all work for the same people. They all got ties to the same people. And if that happens, there's nothing we can do. It's not unethical. It's unethical as hell, but it's not illegal.
Yep. And
people just going to have to remember when they go to the ballot box, Kathy Cooper's the only one up for re-election this time. Then you're going to have Billy Powell and Stowe up in the next year to 2 years. And, Stowe has claimed that this is going to be his last, term, his last term. And hell, Powell's like a cockroach. He ain't never going to go away. He's been on it 20 years or whatever. He's going to survive nuclear winter, and it's just to the point to where these voters are going to have to remember it, and there's people out there wanting to recall all these people. And hey, I'm all for it if you can get it done. You got nothing criminal on them. They're doing stuff criminally wrong, but how do you prove it? It's kind of like when you go to court. It ain't what you know, it's what you can prove. And if we had several people thinking about recalling them several months ago when all this stuff started going on, and I'm not sure, I forgot to look it up, but you got to get like 150 vote signatures to start with. Then you got to send it to a hearing officer that's appointed by the county. That's against you right there to start with, because it's their guy. Then if he approves for it to go forward, then you got to get something like 25 or 30% of the people that voted in that district. Not countywide, in that district.
Yep.
Like, I think it was to remove Billy Powell when they looked at it. It's going to take 2,400 signatures. And you can't go knocking door to door. You brought up before we got on air, you couldn't do door to door. You got to, like, I guess, set up at Walmart or Kroger or somewhere and just try to get people to go to basketball games or football games or whatever. Who wants to be bothered with that mess when they make it to where it's hard to get somebody recalled. And I'm not saying don't do it. And if you do it and you fail, you got to pay the court costs and the lawyer's fees for the people trying to get recalled. Because I remember years ago, Craig Lutz they tried to recall him when he was on the Board of Commissioners. And they failed, and he got his attorney's fees and everything paid for. It can be an expensive
ordeal there.
Endeavor, And the only one you really got right now is Kathy Cooper for malfeasance, because she didn't recuse herself on the vote for Winder Highway when she did just a year ago. She recused herself a year ago, but she didn't for this vote. So that's real, but is that enough though? It's tough. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd love to recall a lot of politicians. But they have to make it hard to do it so these people are insulated to where they're not scared to do their jobs. But it also protects crooks. I understand why the law's in place, but at the same time, it's like when I was going through my custody battle, when my ex-wife was going to break the order and hold my kids from me, we could see it coming by how she was acting, but we couldn't do nothing about it until it actually happened.
Yeah.
And then when it happens, it's a year-long process to get in, the laws are set up to protect the crooked. And that's unfortunate, but until they actually, you would basically have to have a GBI investigation on somebody to get them recalled, I think. And you would have to be taking a big step thinking that, is everybody in his district or her district? Are they on Facebook? Do they know what's going on? Do they read the Gainesville Times? Because the Times and Access W has started covering this stuff now.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have no choice. But are these people reading that? Most voters are uninformed. They just go down there and vote who they voted for forever. If
they even vote.
Yeah. I mean, last election that we just had, only like 11% of people registered people showed up to vote.
Yeah.
But in a presidential year, they like 60 to 70%. When you got 11% of the people show up.
Oh, yeah. It tells you how many are uninformed and actually want to make a difference with a vote.
Well, yeah. I mean, and
that's all it takes.
And people don't understand. They still did studies that 85% of the people in this country still get their news from NBC, ABC, and CBS, like nightly news and local news on the TV and on print. They may read the paper, but it's the AJC. They're not going to all these websites. They're not going to Twitter or Telegram or Facebook or anywhere to find out the modern news. They read what the mainstream media tells them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same way with local news. I mean, and I'm not trying to discourage it. I'm just trying to make people realize the reality of the situation. As you may, because we kind of in social media, it makes you think you're a little bit more important than you really are because you're living kind of in a bubble. And even though there's millions of people on this, like say Twitter's got 5 million people, or Facebook's got, say 5 million people are using it every hour or whatever they got. But you look at the big scheme of things, there's 340 million people in the damn United States. That's not a whole lot. I mean, if you got 30 million active users a day or a month, I mean, that's just a minuscule amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
And how many of those actually vote?
Yep.
I mean,
you
it's like,
catch them at the right place at the right time.
Well, and it's like Vicky's group. I mean, she's done a great job getting 10,000 followers and 10,000 people in the group. But how many are there just to read it? How many are there? How many of them actually vote? How many of them, you don't know that stuff. Mm-hmm. And you've got to assume it's kind of like the people that show up at the polls. 10 or 11% in non-presidential years and 60 to 70% in presidential years, So are you going to get 2,400 signatures in Billy Powell's district? Are you going to get 3,000 in Kathy Cooper's district? I mean, I'm not trying to be pessimistic here, but I mean, you're fighting an uphill battle. And it sucks that it's like that. I mean, it does. I mean, I don't trust any politician.
Now, I'll tell you what you need to do. If you want to get that done, and you might think I'm joking, but you want to get that done, you get you a dozen people with clipboards, and you set them out at every single Chick-fil-A in that district.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, I tell you what, seriously, you think about it.
Right down there in Flare Branch, it's right around the building all the time.
If you were to hit up all the high volume places that you could legally go, you never know.
Well, I'm not saying they can't get it done. I'm just saying.
It's just a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
You ain't got 30 days to do it either.
Yep.
If it ever gets to that point, it's just, the best thing to do is just get more qualified people to run, like Corey and Tyler and Shannon Davidson. And it's a shame you got, and Shannon and Tyler running against each other because they live in the same district. Then you're going to have Steve Gailey coming in, who is a former commissioner, who's well respected. And the key in this whole election thing is keep getting Cooper out and keeping Stan Hunt out of office. Because he's damn lives in the swamp. And that's the key. And we got to just start making change and keep fighting and keep doing things the right way.
Yep.
Because you got to get 2,400 vote signatures. You're going to have to get 3,000 signatures because they say you need to get 30% over what you need because the ones that's going to be disqualified. People that signed it when they lied and said they don't actually live in the district, or they think they do and they actually don't. And, it's just a big mess. And the way this hearing went today, I don't think the judge is going to say the hearing's not going to happen. He may delay it. I mean, she may delay it a week or a couple of days at most, but the hearing's going to happen, I believe, just by the pushback she was giving Sosebee and Braswell and Hunt's attorney. She was making it. Now, that don't mean he ain't going to go home and pull up, his wizardry. Attorneys are pretty freaking smart, I don't know what he's going to turn in. They got to have their documents in by 12 o'clock tomorrow. And then she's going to rule tomorrow afternoon. So it's going to be right down to the wire.
Dang.
So it's going to be tough.
It'll be interesting.
And that hearing's going to last 10, 12 hours minimum. because each of them will be tried separate. I mean, you can't bring all the evidence in against all at the same time.
No, it's got to be individual.
Yeah, I mean, because they're all individual, independent people, they got their own reasons for being there or whatever, you know. And it's going to take 2 or 3 hours on each one, and you're going to have lunch breaks and bathroom breaks. You know, like one of my buddies said, hell, we just need to go get our liquor license and go set up a concession stand in the back.
I'm down.
Selling beer and liquor and some popcorn, and
we get Corey's boiled peanuts.
yeah, I mean, you know, it's going to be interesting if it happens, and I think it's going to happen. And I know what should happen. They should be voted out and kicked to the curb, and 3 people to replace them. But I fully expect the 3 Amigos to keep them in office. It's going to be a 3-2 vote, just like it always is.
Yep.
That's what I expect. I mean, I don't have any inside information or anything, but just going by how everybody thought last week, the December 11th meeting should have went.
I don't know.
Indications were, you know, that either the data center or the Cagle Mill Road was going to get voted down, and that Winder Highway had a good shot of getting voted down. You know, 50-50 chance, and it ended up there was a 0 chance of any of them getting voted down. I'm a firm believer if they wouldn't have pulled their application for the data center, it would have got approved.
I don't know. My gut feeling about the 3 Amigos is that whole fiasco is probably going to get extended and pushed along as far as it can go.
Yeah.
They're going to drag that one out as long as it can go. That's my gut feeling. If it ain't them, it'll be the attorneys. They'll be dragging that out to make money on that one.
Oh, yeah. Well, and if the judge does hear the injunction, does give them the injunction and make it go to Superior Court, this could take a year or 2.
Hell yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Completed. You know, and who are you going to put? Are they going to be able to do their jobs in the planning commission until it's over? Or do you got to appoint temporary people? I mean, there's a lot of
stipulations there.
Yeah. You know, you don't have the answer to because it's never been done before. Because even their attorney today, that Tony Powell, said that I can't bring you case law because this has never been done before. And he said the Board of Commissioners shouldn't be the judge, jury, and executioner. She said they're not. The judge said that, said, well, if I issue you this injunction, what power does the Board of Commissioners have over employees or appointees? If they can't have evidentiary hearings to fire somebody for cause, what power do they have?
Yeah, exactly.
If we got to come to court to get it done, she said that's not why these laws were written. She said it's impossible to write up laws to cover every contingency.
Yeah, it is.
That's why do it.
That's why you set precedences.
Yeah.
That's why you have the first time, and that's why you refer back to that. They'll refer back to this one from.
And I just don't think she wants her name on legislation that cuts the nut to the Board of Commissioners. You don't want to neuter the Board of Commissioners because if it's done in Hall County, it'll be done all over the state before long.
Oh yeah, and you'll be that first person that started the ripple.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
You're the first judge that broke the good old boy system.
Yeah, that's just my gut feeling.
The
Board of Commissioners has got to have some power.
They do.
They've got to be able to remove appointees. Now, I could understand if it was elected official or somebody that was hired and, you know, they've got certain protection, but not an appointee, you know.
Yeah.
So
it'd be interesting.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be up at 9 o'clock on Wednesday. I get up about 6 or 7 and then lay back down till about 10:30. After I'm up for about an hour or so, and then I'm gonna be up watching this 9 o'clock on Wednesday if it happens.
Let me ask you this, did you have issues logging in and watching it today?
No, not at all.
You got right in?
Yeah. What happens is they go in there, you log in, and they get your information. And this is if you want to sign up early. You go in there, you log in, then they sent me an email telling me to click this link to log into the proceedings
with a password.
But I already had the username and the password from the rule NEC that they had.
Yep.
And since I stayed in there, it just automatically took me to the judges. Like if I'd have logged in yesterday and put in the username and password, that'd have had my information. And they sent me a reminder email to click that link to be able to
join the viewing.
I'm with you. But this will be just on the Vimeo channel, Hall County Video channel. It won't be on the judge thing.
Yeah, yeah. Are you going to post a link to that on the North Georgia page?
Yeah, I'll have it posted. And it's going to be interesting to see. We should know tomorrow afternoon.
I'll tell you what, I can, and you see the engagement in all of the Facebook groups and all of it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the growth from the public. I mean, it's not stopping. It's only
and I don't go to a lot of the public things because I can't. I take my mom's got dementia and I got a lot going on, and I do a lot of work behind the scenes, and that's how most of our group, but we do have a lot of people. There's people in our group that people don't even know in our group go to the meetings and go to everything, and everybody can't just go to the groups because if they see the same old faces all the time, some people's got to come once in a while. You got to have people do the work behind the scenes because you can't do the work behind the scenes and go to the meetings. It just wears you out.
Yep.
It just wears your ass out.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, look at Jody. Poor Jody. She tries to do everything herself with her one or two people helping her, and she's always coming and going. And I mean, she never slows down.
I tell you what, though, you talk about
you get burned out quick.
Before we get off here, another funny side topic that I noticed in the chats is since you talk about behind the scenes, I say it's kind of not trending, but a lot of local discussion is all the a lot of the aliases going around. You got DB Cooper coming back from the dead.
Oh yeah, I know who he is. I know who he is. He's a good dude.
Like in real life, or
in real life,
the one behind him?
I didn't know who he was till about 6 months ago.
Oh, the person behind the profile?
Yeah, he quit posting. I reached out to him on Facebook, and he finally reached out and got me. Won't know what. He texted me back, "What the hell you want?" And I said, "Just Joe," with a bunch of smiley faces. And he said, he asked me what happened and why, about all the stuff we talked about before, and why we started NGAdvocate and all that. And I told him, and me and him started talking, and he's a good dude, man.
I know you got the DB Cooper profile. You got
Absalom Wingo.
You got Hugo Pyrenees, who's also running Brad's page. I put that connection together. That's the same person. Then you got
Absalom Wingo was the first postmaster of Absalom, Georgia, or something.
Okay.
That was a little bitty town over there near Oscarville.
And then you got the newest one, Gainesville Newsom.
Yeah, Gainesville Newsom. Yeah, that cracks me up.
That character, he posted the 3 Amigo AI video.
That meme thing.
Yeah.
That shot, I clicked on that and I cracked the hell up. I was like, "Come on, man!"
I'm telling you, and really, that should be. And I'm joking about it, and it's all fun, but that should be an eye opener to anyone that's corrupt in office. That there's that many people,
and especially the way technology is today, you can find any damn thing you want.
But the thing is, the commitment that a lot of these public citizens, the commitment that they're putting into these fake profiles to remain anonymous and combat their
It's just now getting bad on the social media, but I ran forums for the last 25 years. And that's why I'm a big believer of free speech, because when you start banning people, they just gonna create a fake profile, come back.
Oh yeah.
You can't stop it. I mean, they can create as many email addresses as you can ban.
Yeah. And I
You
mean,
know,
like I said, I'm 40. So I mean, I come from the time when you had the AOL dial-up
yeah,
disk that you'd have to load up your disk with a password
yeah,
for one, so you could access 1 hour of internet. Remember that?
oh, yeah.
Here's a free disk for
I'm
1 hour.
53. I remember. I'm
Oh
53.
yeah. So you'd get the whole family around, and you're like, okay, you get 12 minutes because 8 minutes is dialing in to secure your internet connection. So
Yeah.
I remember all those days to the Yahoo chat rooms.
Oh, we used to do ICQ, Yahoo, AOL chat rooms.
Yep. So what's funny to me is I'm sure the people behind these fake profiles, I'm sure they've taken a few extra precautionary steps, but you and I both know. I mean, hell, all it takes is one proper warrant, and they'll know exactly where it's coming from. Even if they use remote IPs, no matter, it's all traceable. They will find out exactly.
If they're using a good VPN, they won't get caught.
Oh, they won't get caught. But look at you smiling as you said.
I mean, I use VPNs anyway just for protection. No, I mean, I don't have no aliases.
Yeah.
I've got 4 Facebook profiles, but they're all businesses, you know, like North Georgia Advocate, my NGA. I mean, it's all, I've actually got about 10. It's because it's websites and Facebook pages I've built for other people that I have to maintain, you know, but I don't do nothing crazy about with them or nothing.
Yeah. I say, you see how hard it is to get a hold of me on my normal pages. I mean, hell, I couldn't imagine keeping up with a fake one too. Cause I know what that takes. I mean, you need to set up a fake email. You need to set up you got to set up a whole fake identity.
Yeah, you got to do IP address. You got to
do it right.
Because Facebook checks your IPs and all that stuff, and they say it's all from the same. You got to log in from a private browser, go to a VPN, or you know.
So that's
easy to do.
And that's another topic there. So what happens? See, that's gonna be interesting to see how that space develops in the legal field. Because think about that. Think about if there's a warrant on a fake profile that's stored in a data center owned by somebody that's rented by Meta, then who? And I'm sure the FBI already has that process streamlined.
Oh yeah,
they get that access immediately, I'm sure. But it's still just a curious thought there. Like, what's that chain of command look like? Do we go to the data center and say, hey, which I know they don't, because they don't typically know what's in each hard drive or whatever. They don't. I mean, you go to Meta, you go to the app and the software that's running it and say, hey, I need you to pull this. But still, it's still a funny scenario that we're getting into in this day and age.
Oh yeah.
I was telling one group the other day, and I know it's funny because I'm only 40, but I told them, I said, you know, back in my day, the only data centers we had were museums and libraries.
Right. And card catalogs and libraries.
Microfiche and Dewey Decimal System.
I remember Microfiche first come out when I was in high school. We thought that was the best thing ever.
I remember when the laser discs came out, the ones that were about size of a domino pizza. Yeah, they had a whole tray that the TV and the laser disc player. It was like a one-piece 8,000-pound unit they'd roll through the hallway.
Yep.
That was like a treat that day. You get to watch the laser disc on the reproductive system.
Yeah, we didn't have laser discs. We had that film that you could flip. We had to watch the VCR every once in a while.
I remember when I was in elementary, we'd bust out the overhead projector, and that was kind of cool.
North Hall, we had 3 VCRs for the whole school.
Jeez.
On them rollaway TV, you know, and carts. I only had 3 for the whole school. And
y'all are probably the high-tech ones out of the county, too.
Shoot, hell no. Well, it was a cow school. All the good stuff went to Johnson back then.
Yeah, that's sad.
That's where all the people live.
It was.
You just had North Hall, East Hall, and Johnson back in. Then West Hall was built when I was a sophomore. They got all the new stuff back when that was built. But before then, North Hall and East Hall was the stepchilds.
No, you're right. They were.
And
South Hall, it was South Hall and Johnson was.
Johnson got everything new back when I was in school.
It's because they sent Mike Moonpie Wilson to where you go, pro or state.
NFL, yeah. So, all right. Well, we covered a lot tonight. It was a long show, and I apologize for it being so long, but we just had to cover it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I probably need to break it up into 2 parts, but I ain't got time. You know.
I'd probably, if you could, I'd probably hit if it'll let you do highlights like YouTube. YouTube will do high points that you can.
Yeah.
This is the 3 Amigos. This is the data center. This is.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll say.
Or you can put that. You can put that in the caption in the comments. Say, hey, at 3 minutes and we get into this. At 48 minutes we discuss the data center.
I can do it on the Google AI because we're using Google Meet right now. I can go in there and I can type in Gemini and tell them the timestamp when we start talking about
different topics
and stuff. And it can do that for me. YouTube can do it too, but it's easier to get it done when you're processing the video.
I'm gonna laugh at the table of contents if the last one says Gainesville Newsom. I'm gonna have to tag that boy. I'll say you made the news.
Oh goodness. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, Brandon, and we'll do another one of these next week.
Yep.
Probably do it next Monday night about, have it up on Tuesday. If that's fine with you. We're trying to get into it with the holidays and everything. It's hard to get into it.
Okay.
To do it every week because you got family obligations.
Oh yeah.
Christmas parties and Thanksgiving dinners and it's amazing how many people have birthdays in November and December.
Mm-hmm. Tells you people are bored in March.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Valentine's Day and St. Patrick's Day. They ain't got nothing better to do.
Oh yeah. Nefarious on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah.
Like so drunk they don't remember it.
It's funny, all of us. I'm September, so all of us September babies. I'm like, you know what your mama gave your daddy for New Year's.
I'm a June baby, so. Oh goodness, that's September. But yeah, we'll be back next Monday, and if y'all got any questions, just email us. We'll have our email. I'll put them in at the end of how to contact us at the end of the video, where you not in the video itself, but on the description and all that, and it'll be I'll post the videos on the website and on YouTube. That way it gets sent out to all your major Spotify, Apple. It's on 10 or 12 different podcast feeds, so if you got any of them, people can hear it. And we'll have links to everything tomorrow morning. I'm not going to get into doing this stuff tonight. We ran a little late, so we will be back next week, and we'll see y'all then. Thanks.
All right. Y'all have a good one.